Welcome back, boxing fans, to another live stream with Sean on boxing. Welcome in tonight. We have quite a bit to talk about. I have quite the agenda this evening, even though I'm still trying to figure out how to share things here. But, never fear, time is here. So let me quickly go and find my agenda for this evening. There we go. So Boxing Top episode 1, Sean on boxing. So this weekend we have quite a bit of boxing to look forward to. So let's start there. I wanted to show this on my computer, but unfortunately this is as good as we're going to get today. Saturday, February 24th, out of Tokyo, Japan, we have quite a good card. I'm not sure if this is going to be shown on ESPN or ESPN Plus or potentially DAZN. Hopefully DAZN. If it's on DAZN, I will be going live on Saturday night to show this. Obviously, it's a Tekken promotion boxing match, and it's quite a good card. A lot of good fighters here. Jonas Sultan, ex-world champion, obviously a guy that people remember, a Filipino fighter who has quite a few big wins on his resume. He is going to Japan to bounce back. He obviously in his last big fight fought Paul Butler for the vacant WBO title that his countryman got stripped of. And of course, Jonas Sultan had beaten him, Casemiro, prior to that, somewhere down the road. So he was a pretty good, solid name for Paul Butler to fight. It wasn't as if he was fighting some unknown dude. Sultan had been, I think, a 115-pound world champion prior. And at that weight class, he beat Casemiro. Casemiro obviously moved up to 118 and then obviously got stripped, and Sultan ended up being a replacement opponent. And Paul Butler ended up beating him, leading to that big Inui fight. Also on this matchup is Kosei Tanaka bouncing back. People may remember Kosei Tanaka. He was tied with Lomachenko for the fastest man to become a three-weight world champion, I think in 13 fights. And he was trying to become a four-weight champion by fighting his countryman, Ioka, for the 115-pound world championship. And if you watch Ring IQ and a few other people on YouTube, including Mark from Ireland, they had a big back and forth going. Obviously, one was a big Ioka fan, I think Mark, and then I wonder what happened to Mark. He kind of disappeared completely. And then, of course, you had Ring IQ, who was really pushing for Tanaka to pull the upset. If you watch that fight, which was a really good fight, and probably Ioka's best performance of his career, a real stellar performance, two fighters, top elite guys, one a four-weight world champion, one a three-weight champion, both big names in Japan. Ioka demolished Tanaka, demolished him, took him apart, ended up stopping him, and really made a statement. That was by and far, I think, the premium performance of his career, and really sort of put him on the map. And after that fight, a lot of people were talking about Ioka being a pound-for-pound top 10 fighter. Since then, he's had quite a few good wins, but he hasn't looked quite as dominant as he did in that fight, obviously needing to fight Bam Rodriguez's brother twice to end up getting a victory against him. And many people feel he lost in the first fight. Also on the undercard is Takumi Inoue, the 118-pound world champion. I'm not sure which title he has, whether it's the WBA or the IBF. If you know, you can leave it in the comment section next to me. But he's going to be fighting Jerwin Ancajas, 115-pound IBF world champion, until, of course, he ran into one crazy son of a bitch from Argentina who beat his ass in back-to-back matchups and looked fucking like the Energizer Bunny. What a performance by that guy. Sorry, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he is one of the most exciting fighters in boxing today, and probably one of the least talked about. And obviously I'm not helping because I'm not remembering his name right off the top of my head. Fernandez? Argentinian fighter, 115-pound IBF world champion. Leave in the comment section below. Obviously, age is not on my side, but maybe it's on yours. But this should be a great fight. Jerwin Ancajas was a 112-pound world champion, 115-pound world champion for a long time. And the biggest problem people had with him is he never fought any of the other world champions because he was a PBC based fighter. And obviously, none of the other fighters at 115 pounds were PBC. So he never ended up having the big fights. And even when he was an ESPN fighter prior to joining the PBC, he still didn't get any of the big fighters in the ring as well. Ended up losing to an unknown Argentinian and now moved up to 118 pounds and is taking on Inouye's brother for his title. And this should be probably the best fight on the card, to be honest. I mean, Kerwin and Kangas is probably the harder puncher out of the two. Both are very good, very well-schooled fighters. Obviously, for Inouye, we wanted Inouye to fight Kerwin and Kangas at 115 pounds for unification, but unfortunately, that fight never happened. But this is a pretty good replacement fight at this point in both of their careers. Obviously, Jerwin and Kangas is coming off of 2 losses, needing to make a statement. If he wins this fight, he will become a 2-weight world champion, and all of a sudden, he will be relevant once again. For Takumi Inouye, imagine the position he's in, living in the monster shadow. That's a difficult position for anybody to be in because constantly you're going to be sort of second fiddle to your brother, who is pound for pound one of the best fighters in boxing today. He's a very good fighter in very exciting fights because in truth, unlike his brother, he doesn't have that huge power. So a lot of his fights are a lot more competitive. Most of them tend to go 12 rounds, and there's a lot of back and forth. And he's a very schooled fighter, so technically very, very good, like his brother, but not with the one-hit-a-quitter. So obviously his fights do not end with the excitement that his brothers do. But so far, this card is really good when you think about Inouye versus Kangas, obviously Tanaka and Jonas Sultan. That's 4 world champions on the undercard. 4 world champions on the undercard. And then you get to the main event, and this is Junto Nakatani. I'm high on Junto. Junto is one of the most exciting fighters in boxing. I made a video not that long ago saying, is he the new monster? Is he Japan's next great fighter? And so far, he hasn't done anything to dissuade that. Just the opposite, right? Obviously, him moving now to 118 pounds, he's trying to become, what, a 4-weight world champion, or is this his 3rd weight? 3rd weight, so 112, 115, and now moving to 118 to become a 3-weight world champion. Obviously, at 112 pounds, he wasn't able to get the big opponents, right? Martinez ducked him. The Ukrainian fighter didn't really fight anyone. At that time, obviously, the 2 other champions, he was one of them. And then, obviously, the UK fighter wasn't a champion at that point. And Bam Rodriguez had yet to move back down to this weight division. So he wasn't even at that weight. That was a fight I was looking forward to. But unfortunately, Bam moved down. Junto moved up. And now, obviously, Junto went on to win the WBO title. Ioka, his countryman, basically ducked him, blatantly ran away from a scrap with his countryman, which would have been an unbelievable matchup. A far better fight than Bam's brother, even though obviously those fights were very entertaining and very competitive. But to be honest, nobody really knows Bam's brother. Bam's brother doesn't have much of a name and doesn't have much of a following, unlike Junto Nakatani. But Junto ended up becoming the champion at 115 pounds, and now obviously is moving up to 118 and taking on Santiago, who beat Nonito Donaire to win the vacant WBC title. So now Junto is taking him on, Alexandro Santiago. And this fight is a pretty crazy matchup. Junto Nakatani is very tall and very long for these small weight divisions. Santiago is, I think he's from Chile, and he's every bit a Chilean, very short, very diminutive. So it's going to be an interesting matchup when you see these guys do their face-off, when there's probably going to be like this much difference between the 2 of them. It's going to be an interesting matchup to see if Santiago is going to be able to get through Junto Nakatani's long reach and obviously punishing jab and big straight punches. and he carries quite a bit of power. And obviously, he's got the weight and the frame to carry 118 pounds pretty easily, pretty easily. So we will see how that works out. But that is potentially a very exciting fight as well. So overall, this card is pretty good. I mean, if you're a hardcore boxing fan and you like anything from Japan, definitely check this fight card out this February 24th. Great matchup. Let's move to our next thing. This would have been much better if I could share it, because then you could obviously see it much better. But let me just put this here and just you like take a photo, memorize, write down who you want. But this is something I saw on X, and I thought, I like when they do these. It's pretty interesting. You needed to pick one fighter from each category to build your stable as an up-and-coming promoter in the boxing game. So build your boxing stable. So this would be the three primary fighters that you'd build your stable on. So which of these fighters would you build your stable on? So let's go through the gold class. Obviously, these are the money men, the pay-per-view stars, the guys that are guaranteed to bring money into your pocket. You have Devin Haney, Gervonta Tank Davis, Terrence Crawford, and Canelo Alvarez. So if you could pick one of these guys, who would you pick as your gold class fighter? People, feel free. Leave in the comment section below. Is my chat working? I have no idea. I got a comment here. Oh, man, look. How come? Sorry, I didn't even see. Excuse me, guys. I didn't even see the chat. That's why I didn't respond. Paise, excuse me. Darkness is in. Iceman, what's up? The representative to John Boxing shut down your other channel? Yes, he did. Mark moved to Canada. I think he's okay. I've seen him by Tony Reviews channel the other day. Oh, okay. He moved to Canada, from Ireland. Look at that. I know there's a bunch of business preventing this, but I would like to see Bud Boots or Canelo Benavidez. Canelo Benavidez might very well be the fight that's going to happen. I wish more boxing fans would push for guys fighting the best in their respective weight classes. I don't live the nation of somewhere moving up 3 weight classes. Yeah, I mean, you can understand why Bud would do it, because this may be really his last fight of his career. So to go for the big money fight, it's understandable. But obviously, it's not the fight people are asking for. Boots isn't in the cards since Bud is old and only has 2 fights. Exactly. Tell Boots to stop ducking Conor Benn and Stanionis. Well, that's the fight I can't imagine that's not being made. Stanionis, right? They're both unknown dudes without big names. You're not going to have to pay them a lot of money to make that fight. And that easily could be a unification fight between the WBA and obviously the IBF. And then potentially you also have another PBC fighter in what's his face, fucking, you know who I mean, the other guy that Boots has been talking about. So 3 of the 4 weight divisions could easily be PBC champions to unify. So, Boots has other potential opponents for him to fight. It's not as if there's nobody there for him. But currently he's going through contract problems because his promoter just died. And obviously a lot of that stuff is in limbo. So he's trying to sort that out. So I think that's why nobody really knows what he's going to do next. If Benavidez hasn't done enough for Canelo, how has Boots done enough for Bud? Well, Benavidez has done more than enough for Canelo based on his last 2 performances. But the question is that the opponent that Al Heyman is pushing for the second fight in a 3-fight deal? Sean, why did John do you dirty? Because it's John, man. What would you expect from a guy like him? Would you expect anything different? Right? He's a fucking Floyd Mayweather fan. And we know back in the old days, the whole Floyd Mayweather-Manny Pacquiao era, a lot of Floyd Mayweather fans had Pacquiao channels closed down. So I'm surprised I didn't get closed down back then. So the fact that I lasted this long without getting closed down, it's not a surprise that eventually it did happen. But obviously my channel was at its best and highest peak. And, I was hoping to get to that 10,000 mark. Now, it's going to take a lot more work. Considering I had almost 7,000 fans, to only have 200 now, I'm like, man, come on, people. If you clocked up once, you can clock up again. But let's jump in. John is a snake. He is. I know you run the AJ fan club, but what percentage do you think Francis has him? I don't run the fan club. Come on. I said I think Wilder would beat him. I just think it's matchups, right? Matchups. I feel AJ beats Fury. Fury beats Wilder. I think Wilder beats AJ. I mean, historically, we always had these kind of matchups. Styles make fights. Francis obviously has a puncher's chance, but I don't think he has anything more than that. I think AJ will control the distance behind his jab. He's not going to take any risks at all, and he's just going to wait till Francis make a mistake and boom, and see if Francis' chin is that good. And that's really the sort of selling point of that. Sean, are you a Patrick Mahomes fan? I don't watch too much NFL anymore, but obviously Mahomes is doing well and got lucky. But I was a Tom Brady fan, so I can't jump to somebody else right away. It depends. Do I want to actually activity or money, guys? Javante, Canelo, that's not cool. How did you shut down your channel so easily and quickly? He just got 3 strikes against me, and I don't know how YouTube just easily takes a guy as, him saying that I stole his content, even though is his content even, some guys have their content copyrighted. He doesn't, and he stole my content all the time. It's just I fucking outed him on his Anui shit, and he couldn't take that, even though he did that to me with Bud Crawford. So it was tit for tat. It was just, he's a punk, he's a rat, he's a squealer, and that's what he is. And you're going to teach your kids to be like that, whereas I teach the kids at my school, don't do that. Nobody's going to like you if you're fucking a sneak fucking rat that goes behind people's backs. But that's John. He had every opportunity to debate me whenever he wanted, to fucking confront anything he disagreed with. But whenever he did, it was futile. So then he went the rat way. What's up, Ninja Warrior? Ninja, there's a good TV show on TV on Netflix, The Ninja Family. So, did you guys all say you're moving so quick? There's so much talking going on. I don't even know where to start. But who did you guys say for round 1? Canelo, Javante, Crawford, or Haney? I think it comes down to 2 people, obviously, unless you really have high hopes for Devin Haney. Alonzo will figure it out. I hope Alonzo figures it out. Let's go. But I would pick Javante Tank Davis as my number 1 guy to build a stable on. Obviously, Canelo's bigger at this time, but Canelo's also 4 years older. Probably not going to be around as long as Tank Davis. So I think, I'm risking a little, obviously, a little upside, but I would have Javante Tank Davis go fight Haney in Saudi Arabia. So I think it would make everything well worthwhile. Well, you're trying to pick somebody that could be the face of boxing, and it's either going to be Javante or Canelo. It's not going to be Bud, because like we said, he's probably done after 1 or 2 more fights. Haney, if you think Haney could be that man, right? But I don't know if I see Devin Haney developing into that kind of fighter. I mean, when he goes to 147, I definitely don't think he's going to beat Boots Ennis. No. At 140, yeah, he might be able to beat everyone at that weight class, maybe. But I don't see him beating Boots. No fucking chance. No chance at all. He has no advantages over Boots at all. Not in height, not in natural weight, not in reach, not in power, not in speed. I think he's got no chance. None. But Javante Tank Davis, I think, a fight with him and Loma, a fight with him and Shakur, a fight with him and Tio, even other fights, they're big money fights. And obviously you can still build up and have other fights. But that's just my first pick. Haney can't carry boxing. He has no power. I agree. Enos won't even be there when he moves up. Well, what do you mean? He's talking about moving up next, fighting Mario Barros, right? So it's not like Boo's not going to be there. It's not like he's talking about years down the road. He's talking literally about 2024. So that shit's right there. It's there. And let's look at part 2. Lineup number 2. This is what's going to be the payoff for you. Obviously, if you pick Javante or Canelo, you're going to make money. Haney, I don't know. Bud, not really. But round two, you got David Benavidez. You got Ryan Garcia. If Ryan beats fucking Devin Haney, you fucking hit the jackpot. You got Tim Tszyu. Tim Tszyu potentially could fight Crawford. If he was able to beat Crawford or fight Spence and beat Spence, a star is born, right? And he's obviously got a whole continent behind him. And then, of course, you got Jesse Bam Rodriguez. Jesse's problem is that he's a small fighter, but I think in his last fight against what's his face, he definitely showed that he is what people thought he was, a superstar small man. But he is small. Can you generate money from those small guys? Yes, no, maybe so. But what do you guys think? Who would you pick there? But I do like Tim, especially with all the activity. Exactly. He's active, and that's definitely a plus. Tim will move up to 160, which will cause Ennis to move to 154. Haney will permanently move to 147. I heard could be Canelo versus Spence. I hope not. I talked about that, but it seems very unlikely. Quentin says Tszyu. Tszyu, I think, is a great pick, right? The problem is, obviously, you need to fight Crawford or Spence or Charlo to generate any money at that 154-pound division. And that's the question. Is that going to be a division that can make money? And then if you move to 160, there's nobody at that division that you could fight where you're going to generate much money. Right? David Benavidez, if he beats Canelo, becomes a star, right? Obviously, then you got other big fights for him, like Charlo. Obviously, David Morrell builds up, potentially him fighting the winner of Bivol or Beterbiev, big money fights. I really like Jesse, and I would say, personally, as a fighter, I enjoy a stable of Tank Davis and Jesse Benavidez would make me an excited promoter because I would love to watch those guys fight every single fight they're in. And obviously, they're talking about him Estrada, which would be a big money fight. But then after Estrada, who's he going to fight? He'd need to move to 118, maybe fight Junto Nakatani in Japan. And the people have been talking about him fighting a Nui, but him moving up to 122 pounds to take on a Nui, I don't think his team is interested in doing that. So what do you guys think? Benavidez Sr., been too quiet. I think the fight is next. You're listening to fucking, what's his face? Ness Lessman. The Tszyu stops Thurman impressively, jumping to fight Bud. I think if he beats Thurman impressively, that opens the door for a fight with him and Bud Crawford because now that fight makes sense and becomes a big pay-per-view fight. Tszyu is generating excellent in Australia. Boots could beat Tszyu, and I like Tszyu. Oh, yeah, I think Boots beats him. And styles make fights. What do you think about Keyshawn, K.O.T.O.'s dad? Huh? Keyshawn K.O.T.O.'s dad. I don't know. What happened? Huh? I know Keyshawn KO'd Petraza, which was a great performance, but I don't know what happened with Keyshawn and Tio's dad. But I'm going to go with my heart, even though it's probably not the smart pick, because I do think Tszyu and Benavidez probably are the bigger money generators. But I'm going to go with Bam Rodriguez because, he's young. Out of all the guys outside of David Benavidez, he is the youngest and obviously has the longest reign ahead of him. Hard Recoil, what's up? And then finally we get to the last group, Group 3, which separates the boys from the men. A few of those picks are a little strange. You can see that this is obviously from DAZN because I don't know. Is Tio a fraud? No, Tio's not a fraud. Tio just has a specific style that doesn't work well with guys that move, right? So they just have to make sure that they match him up better. Did you know Knockout against. I don't know him. He's an MMA fighter. I don't really watch MMA very much. So I'm sort of on the outs as far as MMA guys go. Obviously, I know a few of them, but not too many. But let's go to the last card. So you got Adam Azim, Abdullah Mason, Dalton Smith, and Jared Big Baby Anderson. I think you need to write Adam Azim and fucking Dalton Smith off, and it becomes between Abdullah Mason, a future pound for pound number one superstar who could easily go from 135, 140, 147, and potentially even 154. Maybe even more, maybe to 160 to become a five-weight world champion. He's 5'9", with a 73, 74-inch reach, very similar measurements to Bud Crawford. So, definitely he has everything necessary to be a superstar. Looks good now, but obviously he's fighting 8-rounders and 6-rounders. And then, of course, Jared Big Baby Anderson, the first heavyweight that's been listed on this card. Because I picked Gervonta Tank Davis and then went with a small fighter in Jesse Rodriguez. Obviously, both of them are American. I'm going to go with Jared Big Baby Anderson as my final pick because we know heavyweights generate money. And him being the only realistic American heavyweight that has any shot of potentially becoming a world champion, it's definitely worthwhile to shine some light on him. Even though Abdullah Mason could be the next Floyd Mayweather, right? He could be a superstar. I'd pick Xander Zayas. Come on, man. Xander Zayas. You're going to pick Xander Zayas over Big Baby Anderson or over. You think Xander Zayas is going to be better than Abdullah Mason? Really? Sean, you ever eat a lobster omelet? I haven't, but that shit sounds good. I need to eat one of those next time I go visit my sister in Nova Scotia. Lobster's cheap as chips there, man. I went to a wedding and I never ate lobster before, and I went to this wedding and lobster was everywhere, right? Fresh, great. So after that, I kind of feel spoiled because why do I want to spend $1 million on lobster when I can go visit my sister, eat lobster for nothing, and it's finger licking good, better than original recipe KFC. Santiago doesn't have a single chance against Nakatani. He will get washed. I agree easily. Any word on Better BF Bivol? That shit's done, man. That shit's done. It's going to happen. What did they say? July? June? There's a date already set. Junto beat Santiago without effort. I think he should be pound for pound list because he's the fastest to be a 3-division world champion. Huh? Is he the fastest? Really? Sean, did you watch Boxing Voice interview Floyd Schofield and his dad, Schofield Sr.? Crazy like Tio's dad. Those dads all crazy, man. They're all crazy. I feel bad for Schofield because being a Golden Boy fighter, what they were getting him ready for was that Jojo Diaz fight, right? So he could do a Keyshawn Davis type of moment versus Petraza. But unfortunately for him, Jojo Diaz is just fucking shot, man. Fat, lazy, unmotivated, and ended up losing to a guy he never should have lost to. Basically a guy they just lobbed to him so he could get a home run to build up the Floyd Schofield fight. And then you end up getting a draw, I think the fight was. Whatever it was, that shit is terrible. And Jojo should fucking feel ashamed because he's the one that literally came from being a world champion at 130, being a fat, lazy slob, so he couldn't even fucking defend his title, moving up to 135 and becoming irrelevant, becoming a stepping stone. Because that's what he is right now, a stepping stone. Sean, did you watch Ken Shiro's fight versus Canzales? Very controversial, but a fantastic fight. I did watch it. Yeah, it was a great matchup. I hope they do a rematch because obviously Canzales deserves it. I was surprised Canzales looked so good. because the last time he stepped up to face a really elite level opponent at that weight class, he was destroyed, right? Stopped. And I know Kenshiro isn't a big puncher, but he's a very precise puncher, a lot like Ioka. And I figured his punches would eventually get to him. And he was getting to him in the second half of that fight and looked like he may have been close to stopping him. But yeah, it was a great fight, right? That's the problem with people who act like they're boxing fans, but then diminish and downgrade the small weight classes. It's like, are you fucking stupid? Because if you really love boxing, why are you going to diminish some of the best boxing in the world? Just because the guys aren't black and aren't PBC and aren't American, like that shouldn't be the only thing that makes you focus on somebody as a boxer. Obviously, okay, they can be your favorite fighters, but there's a lot of other great boxing out there. So why would you miss out on that just because of some racial narrative that you love to push on your channel, right? But these dudes, man, they are what they are. Fanboys and fucking delinquents. Quint says Zayas is going to have the Puerto Rican fan base that is craving another elite fighter, boxer, puncher with friendly style, way more potential than Abraham Mason. You mean Abdullah Mason? No, man, he doesn't have fucking more. He came on like crazy and then had an accident, and now is kind of looking a lot like his countryman who's spending the rest of his life in jail, right? Like, the problem with Puerto Ricans is the majority of them never live up to what their countrymen want them to. And don't get me wrong, I hope only the best from Xander Zayas. I hope he becomes elite and a great 154 pounder, because him against Tim Tszyu, maybe early 2025 in unification, as well as all the other top guys you have in that division, there's a lot of really exciting, fun, up-and-coming fights of that weight class. So I have no problem with him. If he becomes a star, I'll be happy as hell. Jojo lost a split decision. Lost. Bum, motherfucker. I think Zayas could be a future at 154, but we got to see how they move him, just like Mason. Yeah, exactly. And Mason obviously is a little behind that, but looks great. I don't watch anything under 135. Then, dude, you cost yourself some of the best boxing in the world. Because why would you? That's like saying you're not going to fuck a girl that, I don't know. What's a comparable? I'm not going to fuck a girl that hasn't fucking got her doctorate. And it was like, what? What? Why? Bitches be hot with fucking high school fucking educations. It don't matter if they got a doctorate, right? You could watch most heavyweight fights and none of them are fucking even close to the fights of the smaller weight division. It ain't comparable. Most heavyweight fights are garbage in comparison. Abradabra Mason. Quinton Mason, that guy. Zayas will probably be at 160 when he breaks out. Probably, yeah, because he's a big boy. Ala Mason. Zayas has some pretty tough opponents for a prospect. I like how he's developing. Sure, Top Rank always moves people very well. Little guys are highly skilled and entertaining. Skilled. Allah Akbar Mason. I feel an anti-Islamic push going on from Quinton. If Inui beats Neary, what is the future for him? Fight Casemiro or move up to fight Lopez, perhaps? He said he's going to fight 3 times at 122 pounds this year. So I would think the first fight is going to be against Neary, beating his ass in Japan. And then I think the second fight is probably going to be in the Middle East against MJ Akhmedov, right? Muslim. You can do that fight in the Middle East. They were talking about paying fucking Inui some obscene amount of money. I don't know if the money that True School Sports was saying is true, but obviously, to get Inui to go to the Middle East, you'd have to pay him obviously above what he's making in Japan. And then maybe we can get a Casemiro fight, or that may be in the States, or maybe that Australian guy, Sam Goodman, who might become his mandatory. He may be able to go to Australia. And a Japanese fighter going to Australia, that shit's not bad. Big Japanese fan base in Australia. It's very close, obviously Pacific countries. So it's not far away. Easy for Japanese people to fly to go watch him as well. So that probably makes more sense than going to the States, right, to fight Sam Goodman. And then I think in 2025, he'll probably move to 126 pounds to try to become a 5-weight world champion. Way better than Mason. Mason is younger and obviously hasn't been moved as fast, but they're both being moved by Top Rank, buddy. And Nui shouldn't fight MJ after Neri. Why shouldn't he? Why shouldn't he? MJ and fucking Nui is probably the best fight in the division. I want to see MJ fight. He looked great in his last fight. I think MJ would be a lot tougher than Tapales' fight for some reason. Faster, more power, and technically a better fighter. I think it's a much better matchup. Definitely not a waste of time to fight a former champion, especially a unified champion. Tapales beat MJ. He did, off an injury and a very competitive close loss that some people feel that MJ should have won. So it's not like he was knocked out, destroyed, and had his ass beat. Yes, Tapales barely beat him. Yes, barely. Inui Neri is one of the biggest matches of the year. He gets stopped in 5. Who gets stopped in 5? Neri or Inui? How is it a waste of time, Rep? Neri, MJ, Casemiro are great offensive fan-friendly fights that present different dangers from stylistic perspective. Exactly. I mean, as a boxing fan, these styles are tailor-made for excitement, right? You throw hard-punching, aggressive fighters like Neri and Casemiro at Inui, they're going to fucking throw bombs and try to knock him out before they get knocked out. That shit's going to fucking be great for as long as it lasts. MJ, on the other hand, he's going to be a far more thinking man. He's going to be much more of speed chess versus those two. And chances are Inui's probably going to stop him to the body because he does look like he's susceptible to the body. And you don't want to be susceptible to the body versus fucking Inui. I actually had MJ beating Tapales. Close. Yeah. Inui learns as he's fighting high IQ. Yeah. Oh, as. Yeah, no, Inui's great. What's next on my thing? Okay, so next is another fight that's coming up soon. This may be a fight that you guys are into. We just talked about Lopez. Here you go. Lopez is on the double header from ESPN. You know, ESPN doesn't get nearly enough credit for the constant great fights that they put out. This fight here, the double matchup, it is a really, really entertaining fight. I'm looking forward to it, and I think it should be very entertaining. Obviously, you have Otabak Kolmatov, who is obviously a Eastern European, Euro-Asian fighter. Looks very good in the pros so far. Good power, kind of a diminutive version of Golovkin, right? But obviously, at that smaller weight, he's a little more mobile, a little more athletic. Fighting U.S. Olympian Raymond Ford. I mean, stylistically, you would think that Raymond Ford has the tools to beat him. Long jab, right? He's going to have a much longer reach advantage. Obviously, slick boxers are going to try to utilize that, move a lot, try to walk them into punches, right? And generally, slick fighters beat boxer punchers, and Kolmatov is a boxer puncher. I would hope Kolmatov wins because I think he's a far more exciting fighter. And at this weight division, I'd be far more excited to see him in with the other champions. Ford potentially may be the best out of all the fighters, but I don't know if I'm going to see him in matchups that I'm very entertained by, right? And some people will say, this is racial, this is hate. No, as a boxing fan, I want to see matchups that I think are going to be entertaining. I'm not dismissing Ford. I think he potentially is going to win this fight. Style matchup favors him, right? But I just think if he wins, who's he going to fight afterwards in unification fights that you're going to be excited to see him in? Ford versus Lopez? Ford versus the winner of Robsy Ramirez and the guy that just beat Robsy Ramirez. Ford versus the winner of Vargas and the UK guy he's fighting, or Figueroa, or maybe you could throw him in with Stephen Fulton, who's moving to the weight division. I don't know any of those fights that sound entertaining to me. But let me know, guys, in the comment section below. Would you rather see a guy like Komatov win, who potentially would make great fights against any of the dudes I just mentioned, or would you prefer to see a guy like Raymond Ford win? If you favor Black American fighters, then I would expect that you favor Raymond Ford, and that's fine. I have no problem with it. You can favor who you like, but this is my thinking and my rationale. And you can call it what you call it, but I think it's fair because I'm a boxing fan. Inui is going to be 31 in April. I just think after Neri, he should move up. I know American fans won't give him credit for these guys. He's conquered 122 already. Well, it doesn't matter, Rep, because when he moves to 126, they're not going to give him fucking credit for beating guys there either, because there's no star at 120 fucking 6 pounds. And if he doesn't fight Raymond Ford, then of course he's ducking the slick black guy, right? So, you know, he's damned if he does, he's damned if he doesn't. It doesn't fucking matter. Dudes don't want him to be pound for pound number one, so they're going to find reasons to not give him credit for whatever he does. Like I showed you with John. John said if he beats Fulton, not destroys him, beats him, he would be number one on John's list. He beat him, he destroyed him, he spanked his ass, sent him back to America in a fucking pine box. John had him number 6. So that tells you everything you need to know about the mentality that a lot of American boxing fans have towards the game. Do you see a Inui Nakatani ever happening? Japan going to need to build a 100,000 capacity stadium for that fight. It could happen because Nakatani is moving up quick, right? And maybe if he gets to 122 after winning against Santiago at 118, defends unifies against somebody and feels he's still struggling to make the weight, 122, right? The question is Japan, do they want to have 2 of their best fighters fight against one another where one of them is going to be the loser? Inui said he's not moving up. Yes, he did. Not yet. I never heard of Abe. Has anyone seen him before? I've seen him before. He's long, rangy fighter, got a bit of pop, but he's not the kind of guy that is unbeatable. He's already got beaten. But you throw him in with a guy like Lopez, also has been beaten, right? And Lopez did not look great in his last fight, right? So as far as the matchup, potentially it could be entertaining. Lopez is a short guy that relies on power and pressure and to get to guys. Abe is a much longer fighter who's going to control the distance, right? So just based on the style matchup, it could be intriguing. Lopez could get caught coming in. Lopez could get on the inside and just blow fucking Abe away. So, you know, I got a feeling Oktabek will beat Raymond Ford. Raymond Ford, Avocado Mason. I heard rumors we could get Moten versus Inui. Oh my God. Of course, you know who's pushing those rumors. LDBC and those kind of guys. Because they pray that somebody can beat fucking Inui, a black guy, right? So, of course, they're talking about everyone. Shushu Carrington, fucking Raymond Ford, Kermel. They don't care. They're just praying to God that somebody black and American can beat Inui to expose him as a hype job. So going for a 5-weight world champion and getting beat somehow is going to make him a hype job. But, you know, that's what these dudes are praying for. Praying for. No, Moten isn't fighting Inui. No fucking chance. I'm kind of tired of seeing slick fighters with no power. So, yeah, I want Otabek to win. Fuck, I've been always tired of those fighters. I mean, I think back to a slick fighter who wasn't a power puncher, but he still was entertaining. Michael Nunn. Michael Nunn was a fucking entertaining fighter. Why? Because he let his hands fucking go. I won't say he's the middleweight version of Muhammad Ali, but at the time when I was a kid, I kind of saw him as the middleweight version of Muhammad Ali. Obviously, that's years and years ago. Obviously, he got knocked out and stopped by James Toney. James Toney went on to become a fucking Hall of Famer and a legend, right? But Michael Nunn was that kind of fighter. Long, super slick, fought behind a jab, but his jab was punishing, right? He threw it, and it was not just something that was out there, it was effective, punishing dudes. And then he's throwing the right after it, knocking dudes out, right? Not that he was a big power puncher, but if you hit guys clean enough, you're going to get them out of there, unless they're fucking, Golovkin. I would rather see Inui versus MJ. Moten needs more experience. Yeah, well, that fight's nowhere close to happening. Lee Wood wants to fight Foster. That's a great fight. Foster can make life-changing money in the UK if he fights Wood. I have Otabek beating Ford easily. They might rob Otabek. Evan, if Lee Wood fights Foster, that would be fucking great. I mean, like you say, for Foster, he's not afraid to travel. It'd be big money going to the UK. And for Lee Wood, if he beat Foster, then the fight between him and the Welshman for unification becomes that much more interesting, right? Because now you have two UK fighters fighting for unification for the 130-pound titles. And literally, Lee Wood earned it the right way. And the one thing we can say about Lee Wood, he don't duck people, right? He takes on the toughest competition available to him. So I do not see him running away from it. The only problem I felt he was going to obviously get the fight with his countryman, which would be a big fight in the UK. Why take a risk against Oshaki Foster when you could just get the money right away, right? Moten does look more impressive than Mason. No, he doesn't. Oh my God, come on. Most Black Americans will never give any foreign fighters credit. I'm doing a video talking about this coming up probably this weekend, because you can compare the NBA to boxing, and you see the same kind of narratives and the same kind of push from Black American fans towards non-Black American basketball players, and the lack of credit that these guys get, right? And this is nothing new. When I talk about this going back to when I played high school basketball, I know, because these were the dudes I hung out with. I felt the same fucking way. I didn't give fucking Bird or these dudes credit. The one dude I gave credit to was Tom Chambers, Rex Chapman, and dudes like that were like high-flying fucking white boys, right? But generally, I didn't support Hornacek, Stockton, Bird, fucking Lakener, Hurley. Fuck, no way. Never. Right? Because I didn't find those dudes entertaining. They weren't athletic. They weren't exciting, even though they were effective. And you could say the same thing with Doncic. You could say the same thing with the Joker. You could say the same thing with a bunch of fucking boxers today. But the point is, are they good or not? That's all that matters. You don't need to like him, but you need to respect somebody's skill set, right? I don't like Floyd, but I respect his skill set. I respect what he did in his career. I don't like fucking LeBron James, but I respect what he's done in the game, right? It's just a matter of respecting. You don't need to fucking fanboy and cheer for and like, but how do you dismiss, downplay, and degrade? That's the issue, right? And that's what I've been saying from day fucking one. Just that. This ingrained hostility from people that accuse everyone else of being racist, but yet most of their narratives are based on their racism, right? But I know blacks can't be racist, right? That's the new American narrative. They did the same shit with Manny. They did. And we saw that for fucking years. Years. That's a good point about 126. I'm full of good points. Raymond Ford is about to get exposed in March. Maybe so. Absolutely, Evan. I could see them robbing Otabek. Well, we know that Eastern Europeans are not above being robbed in America. Quinton, both Moten and Mason are special, but I'm afraid Moten will be another Tank. That's probably what he is, right? And I don't say that diminutively. I just had Tank Davis as my number one fighter in my new stable, along with Bam Rodriguez and Jared Big Baby Anderson. But he's small, short, diminutive, doesn't have a long reach. He could be dominant in the weight divisions he's in, but he's not going to be jumping through many divisions like an Abdullah Mason, who could potentially be a 5-weight world champion. Moulton is never going to be that. Maybe he could become a 3-weight world champion, like Tank Davis could have become if he tried to take on anyone legitimate, which unfortunately he's not doing. Manny not able to compete in the Olympics is sickening. I don't understand that when you have other ex-professional fighters who went to the Olympics, right? Like the dude from Thailand and many others. I don't understand why the Olympic Committee feels that they don't want Manny Pacquiao. In truth, Pacquiao would be a fucking boon for Olympic boxing. Pacquiao alone would have tons of fucking people be interested in Olympic boxing. And where's the Olympics this year or the next Olympics? I can't remember, but let me know. I was thinking it's in Asia, but maybe I'm wrong. But I just can't see how Pacquiao, a governor in the Philippines, a guy who is beloved worldwide, right, by, politicians and diplomats, sports fans and not sports fans. This is a guy who really has a huge following. I was thinking today, because Ring IQ was downplaying Floyd Mayweather. And I was thinking, what he says is completely true, right? Floyd was never liked. People respected him, but nobody liked Floyd. Not even Americans really liked Floyd. Zab Judah early on was much more favored than Floyd was, right? De La Hoya was far more beloved than Floyd was, an American. Roy Jones was more beloved than Floyd was. Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, Pernell Whitaker. These guys were all more beloved than Floyd Mayweather, even though Floyd potentially, maybe he's the best out of all of them. I was thinking, when Pacquiao dies, it's going to be a presidential fucking ceremony, right? The whole country is literally going to fucking stop. That's how big it's going to be. It's going to be like when Bruce Lee died, how Hong Kong fucking stopped, and you had line of people all wanting to go and give their best wishes. When Floyd dies, it's going to be a very small, marginally fucking recognized thing that's going to obviously be mentioned on ESPN. You're going to have the bells rung at the fights that happen. But outside of that, it's not going to be a big event. Nobody's really going to fucking care. Right? And that's because he's not really a likable person. And when people act like you should love Floyd, they're missing the whole point. Why would you have to love Floyd? There's nothing lovable about Floyd. Literally, nothing. Yes, the Japanese don't care about losses on a record. That's true. On the bridge for Faction. In all seriousness, Moulton only has 2 fights. Exactly, man. Exactly. Michael, second to none. He was a bad man. Don't even compare Michael Nunn to Muhammad Ali ever again. Calm down. GG has the best power jab. He had a great jab. Carried him, right? Tony, 160, 168, went on an undefeated run, beating Nunn, McCullum, and Barkley up until Roy Jones. Well, when he fought Roy Jones at 160, right? Wasn't it 160? But he was also like, couldn't fucking make the weight comfortably. So it's unfortunate that he fought Roy and wasn't at his best. Tony Nunn is such a good fight. Nunn was ahead in that fight and got caught by a powerful counter with Tony. I was fucking so upset when that happened. So upset. I was never a Tony fan, but I was a big Donald Curry fan and a big Michael Nunn fan. And of course, Jeff Fennick at that era. I want to see Lamont Roach versus Foster. That's a good fight. Lamont Roach is talking a lot of shit. He's definitely trying to talk himself into that unification fight. I think Ford beats him. I think Roach is kind of underrated. I think he's kind of overrated. That dude already got beat by a nobody. And could see him beating Foster in a competitive fight. Thought he looked impressive against Hector Garcia, coming off of a knockout loss. And who was your favorite players in basketball? I grew up a Dr. J fan. And obviously, then as a Dr. J fan, all the attention went to Bird and Magic. I had nothing against Bird and Magic, but I wasn't a Laker or Boston fan. I was a 76ers fan. And then from there, obviously, I became a big fan of Dominique Wilkins because I saw that highlight fucking reel dunk when he grabbed the rebound down here and then fucking, I think, threw it over fucking a center. I can't remember who it was. I'd never seen anything that fucking cool in my entire life. And I had to be like, who the fuck is that guy? Because he's the coolest fucking guy in the NBA. And he's a bad man. Obviously not the most skilled player and obviously really a little one-dimensional, mostly just a scorer. But he was Vince Carter before Vince Carter. Did you respect Jerry West? I'm not that old. I never saw Jerry West play, so I don't know him outside of being a GM, and I respect him as a GM. Bird was good, bro. No, I respect Bird a lot now. And obviously growing older and seeing the hate and the racism behind it, it made me really sort of look how things are and sort of replay stuff. The GM. Now the NBA has Joker, Luka fighting for MVP. How many things have changed? And not just them, but Embiid and Giannis. The four best players really in the NBA, four of the top five are Europeans. Well, I guess Embiid isn't considered European, African, Congo, but not American, right? And that's what I was trying to say. John always talks about America, 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 America. Boxing was never as American as the NBA was. And the NBA has totally become a global sport. Boxing has too. That's all people are saying. No one is dismissing and downplaying and shitting on America. It's America and the arrogant approach many of these people have that they just don't want to give respect or praise to anyone that's not American. And it's all because of race. So you can see that because these people don't mind supporting Embiid and Giannis. Why? Well, because they're black. They're not American, but they'll support them because they're black, right? So it's all racial. Tim Duncan is my favorite, followed by Jerry West. How can Jerry West be your favorite? You never saw him play. Hakeem Olajuwon, Jordan, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Well, I didn't like Kareem because when I saw him, he was with the Lakers and he was old, stiff, and limited. Jordan obviously was great. Obviously, I like Jordan, but because Jordan was loved by everybody, I need to have my own individuality. So, while I like MJ, I sort of floated towards other players like Dominique Wilkins. Olajuwon, I love. I remember watching Olajuwon play in college. What a monster. Dunking on Barkley, dunking on Karl Malone. I was like, this dude's monster. Pi Slamma Jamma with Clyde Drexler, Larry Michaud, fucking Olajuwon. Man, that was a good squad. And then losing to fucking North Carolina State with a crazy fucking half-court alley-oop. Oh, my God. Fuck me. Guys like Kukoc, Shrimp would be great today. Yeah, and they were great back then, opening the doors for Europe, right? Age limit in Olympics. Oh, fuck off. Age limit. Give me a break. That's the stupidest thing I ever heard. Moses Malone used to beat up Kareem and Hakeem, but people don't even talk about him. I do. Full, what was it? 3-3-4? When he was talking about his prediction for the 76ers to win. Man, with Malone on that 76ers team, with Bobby Jones, Maurice Cheeks, Dr. J, fucking Tony, they fucking demolished the NBA. Paris this year. Next Olympics is LA 2028. Won't have boxing. See, again, I don't know fucking. You know, the last time boxing was great in America was the LA Olympics in 1984. And now you're going to come back to LA and you're not going to have the Olympics. You know, it's disrespectful because you think about all those guys that fucking won gold medals for the US in the Olympics, but you're not going to have Olympics. Yeah, I don't fucking get that shit. Paid to watch him lose. Is there any push to kill boxing? Since it's civilized, kind of soft modern world, what's up with the Olympics not wanting boxing? Is a sport dirty to them? Yeah, but then they're going to have other fucking combat sports, right? Manny going to have to Queen Elizabeth farewell tribute. Yes, he will. Pacquiao will always be remembered. Better light than Mayweather. He fought, brought us better fights, and seemed like an overall more likable person. Yes, he did. Sean, do you think Paddy McCrory could upset Berlanga? He's got good power and used to fight at 175. Maybe a setup. See, you guys talk so quick. Let's go to our next video. What are you doing? Here's our next one. It's good that you brought it up. It's the card. So let's talk about that card. So who's on that card that's worth talking about? Andy Cruz is getting back in the ring for his third fight versus Brian Zamaripa Rodriguez. Anyone tell me who that guy is? I don't know who he is. Is he a good opponent? And then, of course, Shikram Gissioff is having his one fight a year versus Pablo Cesar Cano. Not a bad fight. The problem is Cano is old and done. And Gissioff, as a 147-pound fighter, should have been in a big fight by now. The dude literally fights once a year, right? Once a year. It's like, fuck, dude. Like, are you really going to prove you're good, or are you just going to continue to fight mediocre opponents once a year to get a paycheck, but never fucking actually do anything? Who's a silver medal Olympian? The guy that Andy Cruz is fighting? Brian Rodriguez? He's a silver medal Olympian? Oh, fuck. Let's not even talk about the All-Star game in the NBA. 211. Who the fuck wants to watch that game when people are playing no defense at all? People watch like Rutgers Park when Dr. J played, and Connie Hawkins and Vince Carter and Allen Iverson played, because they wanted to see these guys play against real ballers and how good they were against real top quality city legends, right? We want to watch NBA All-Star games to watch the best players in the NBA fucking go at each other, not fucking play pansy ass fucking basketball. Nobody cares about that shit, man. The All-Star game is trash. They talk about getting rid of the dunk contest. Just get rid of fucking the whole thing and do it every 5 years or something, because the way they're doing it, no one gives a fuck. It's garbage, straight up garbage. But where is it? Yeah, I know Gissioff is a silver medal Olympian, yeah. But that's the problem, right? Big expectations like Andy Cruz. But how long has he been a pro now? And what has he done? I think Andy Cruz's resume is better after 2 fucking fights than his is, right? So I'm disappointed that he hasn't done anything. And now you're fighting Pablo Cesar Cano. He hasn't been relevant for fucking, I don't know, since he knocked out fucking Linares, right? That's the last time he was fucking relevant. And then, of course, you have Edgar Berlanga versus the Irishman, McCrory. Wasn't McCrory an Olympian as well? Did he win an Olympic medal? His name is familiar, but I can't remember off the top of my head. I laugh when idiots say players never cared about the All-Star game. That's not true. That's not true. People used to fucking, it used to be a sign of respect that you were fucking considered like that. And you know, these dudes are still egotistical. If they don't get voted on, they're disappointed, right? Guys not in the top 75 of the NBA fucking cry and moan that they're not part of it, right? So, you know, these guys just don't represent themselves well. Look at what fucking Doncic and Joker did. Just the two of them did a two-man weave through the whole fucking court, ending with Joker passing a behind the back no look pass to somebody. I didn't see who it was that threw down a dunk. That shit never should be able to happen. That shit happens when we practice basketball when there's no fucking defense. That shit doesn't happen against NBA caliber dudes who can fucking play the passing lane. Man, garbage. A good portion of All-Star game is just past where as competitive as NBA Finals game. Exactly. Did Andy Cruz get beat in the 2021 by Delano James? I don't know. He got robbed. No, he didn't get beat because it was in Holland. In the old All-Star games, they used to play hard in the second half. Yeah, well, generally that's what it was, right? Highlight the first half, let everyone play, and then the second half, not everybody played, and it became far more convincing, wanting to have your team win. Most people thought Cruz won easily. Yes, pure boxing channel, no narratives. This isn't the YTBC troll channel. What's up? Also amazing. Larry, he lost a split decision. But yeah, Berlanga versus the Irishman. What do you guys think? I can't remember. Obviously, I could Google search and stuff, but off the top of my head, I'm not sure what that guy has done at this point of his career. Berlanga. Who's this Brian Zampiro guy? 14-2, 5 KOs. Yeah, he's a European guy. 10-round IBF international lightweight title. That shit, nobody's interested in that. That sounds like crap. Berlanga, 21-0, 16 KOs versus McCrory, 18-0, 9 KOs, right? Sean, I'm going to Thailand in 20 days. How long would you recommend staying in Bangkok if only have 8 days to stay? I heard to not stay in Bangkok long. You're going to be in Thailand for 8 days in total. If you're going to be in Bangkok for 8 days in total, I would go straight to the beach from the airport. You might have to hang out and stuff till you catch your connecting flight, but like head to Phuket or wherever you want to go right off the bat. Enjoy your days at the beach. And then maybe the last 2 days just to be close to the airport, be in the city, kind of go to Koh San Road and check stuff out. There's a lot to see in Bangkok, so it's not like there's bad. You could easily do 3 days in Bangkok, easily, just with a tour of temples, fucking the red light district. They built like a whole bunch of bars and stuff down near the water, a whole new district. You can use the MRT, so it's easy to travel around, far easier than taxis and stuff because it's so fucking busy. You can't get anywhere, so you might as well jump on a motorcycle and have that guy drive you because it's much faster. There's Chinatown. There's tons of things to see in Bangkok, and it's chilled, right? I always stay on Koh San Road at the Double D Hotel. It's cheap, clean. There's a bar on the roof with a pool. So even when the city gets closed down for national holidays, you can still drink up there without the cops bothering you. Koh San Road, you see everything you need to see. There's lots of places to drink. You can get massages fucking everywhere. But it's obviously the old part of town. Then there's obviously the new section, the red light district and everything else. So, I think 2 or 3 days in Bangkok is a lot. You could see tons, chill, relax, get ready to head back. But if you only have 8 days, I think I would spend like 6 days in the island and then fucking 2 days in Bangkok. Because also the island, right? There's not so much to see. You're going to do stuff, go snorkeling, go scuba diving, party a couple nights, work on your tan, island hop here and there. I mean, 5 days and the beach can get a little long, right? So 2 or 3 days in Bangkok, it's a city. So everything is there, malls, restaurants, discos, bars, red light district, fucking hookers, fucking, everything under the sun. Uh, yes, 8 days. The other two would be travel. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? With travel and shit, it's good that you put that in. So, I mean, I think 6 days at the beach, you get straight to Bangkok airport if you can organize your connecting flight right now. Are you going to Phuket or are you going to Koh Samui? Are you going to go to the west coast, or are you going to go to like the Bay? Because obviously it's very different, right? The Bay is nice, but Phuket, people like it because it's just more. You've seen it in like James Bond movies, right? It's much more of a cool looking island, just because obviously you're on the ocean, so a lot more waves and stuff. So the land mass just looks different. But yeah, and also depends on how much you like the beach and what you're planning on doing. I remember Berlanga had a first round knockout streak going, was saying he would beat Prime Roy Jones in Golovkin. Fucking people are mental. I think Berlanga wins, but I think he will struggle and will get a majority split decision. He better not fucking struggle, because he's calling out Jaime Munguia, and Jaime Munguia looked great against a legitimate opponent. If he fucking struggles, man, that dude fucking better run for the hill. Alonzo, you should visit Gonzalo. He's down there too. Where is he? Thailand? Adam Silver gives guys unlimited incentives and guys still aren't motivated. Yeah, I know. And that's the thing. He's trying to motivate them, right? Because he understands this shit. Alonzo is real big on lady boys. He said Caitlyn Jenner was an inspiration. What? I heard there's a tiger sanctuary in Chiang Mai where can get pet drugged out tigers. I want to go to the best floating market, a swap meet in the water. Well, that's Bangkok, right? And it's in the morning, so it's just an early morning thing. Obviously, Chiang Mai, that's completely different because you need to fly a plane to go up north. So that's where you could go. Outside of Bangkok by train, not that far away, you could go to the elephant sanctuary. It's not that far away. And a lot of those things you can book right from Bangkok, Koh San Road, all those places. There's travel agents fucking everywhere. And they organize shit, really easy. As far as the tigers, you might want to check out around Bangkok, because there might be something similar, obviously on a smaller scale there. Because you will see dudes in Bangkok with elephants, right? So, you don't necessarily have to go far to see animals be exploited. Thoughts on Shitty Foster, how Nova, a 16-1, was much worse than I thought. Yeah, I'm surprised Nova looked that good. That's true. Munguia destroys Edgar. I think he destroys him. Player empowerment is ridiculous. Fuck, eh? You pay these dudes so much money that ex-players fucking sit there going like, Jesus Christ, man, I'm too old. The amount of money I got paid compared to what these guys get paid is ridiculous. I looked at somebody's pay. I can't remember who it was, but like a good player who's like a sixth man or fifth man on an NBA roster. I can't remember who it was specifically. And the amount of money he's worth, and I was just like, fuck, man. Some dudes just get too much money for too little fucking work. Like, you're not even a superstar, and I think the guy was worth $38 million. And it's like, fuck. You're worth $38 million, which means you've been paid way more than that, because after taxes, you still got this much money. Some dudes, man, they're lucky. NBA peak was David Stern. Jordan, thoughts on Teddy Atlas' recent take that all UK fighters are overrated? I disagree. I thought Lennox Lewis and Calzaghe was great personally. Well, Lennox Lewis is Canadian, so he doesn't really count. And Calzaghe is from fucking Wales, but I guess that does mean he is from the UK. Can I ride an elephant in Bangkok? I don't want to shower one. You can. You pay money and he will let you ride it. But I think the one I saw when I was there was just a baby. So I don't know if you could ride the baby, even though obviously it's still fucking huge. But you can Google it. I think, you can Google search all that now. If you probably could go not that far outside of Bangkok, just the suburbs at best. And yes, you don't have to shower it because, yeah, that's what they're going to do up there. You shower, feed it, and take care of it. Jaylen Brown from the Celtics has the biggest contract in the NBA. I don't know how Canelo versus Charlo will sell. I don't think that fight's going to happen. Did you see the video that just came out recently? Apparently, Charlo was supposed to go on some famous influencer's channel. I don't know who the guy is. I'm not American, so I've never heard of him. But the guy was on the air calling this dude, and they're playing him on air, Charlo. And Charlo's asking for like money to be on the guy's show. And the guy's like, we had this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. None of them wanted money. They just wanted to, show their love by jumping on the show. And also, you jump on this guy's show, he has way more Instagram followers than you do. So now your Instagram following grows. You grow as an influencer as well, even though you're a boxer. But yeah, it was pretty pathetic to listen to. The dude sounded drunk out of his fucking skull. Yeah, Lewis is Canadian, won Olympic gold medal for Canada. Yes, you did. Grew up not far from me. A lot of British people disagree, Quentin. Well, of course they would disagree. Of course they would disagree. He's the only fucking good heavyweight they've ever had until now. So they can fucking let their grips go a little bit and understand that they've got plenty of fucking great current UK guys that literally are UK guys. AJ literally won a gold medal for England. Lennox won a gold medal for Canada. Beat fucking Tyrell Biggs. In 1984, wasn't it? Was that the 84 Olympics or was it 88? I would say he's both Canadian and British. Well, now you're just fucking walking the fence. He went to England to cash out because he knew he'd make more money there as a heavyweight than he would in Canada. And primarily, he lived in America. So he didn't even fucking live in the UK. So the UK has very little fucking grasp of him outside of his fucking ridiculous accent that he fucking ended up getting. Brown can't dribble with his left hand. That's true. That's true. Just like Arthur Abraham was both Armenian and Germany. Oh my God, it's not the same. Canelo, like I would never say Better Biev is Canadian. He's Russian. Blatantly. If you want to say Lennox Lewis is Jamaican, not Canadian, I would be like, okay. That's probably closer to the truth. Canelo and Benavidez is looking more and more likely. I hope so. Because if Canelo fights Benavidez in May, all the fucking haters and all the narrative pushers are really going to fucking be exposed, right? In the worst way possible. And the funny thing about it is they're still going to fucking hate on him, right? Even though he does exactly what you want. And then they're going to say he's ducking Charlo. He's ducking Morrell. He's ducking Better Biev and Bivol. Fuck, man. It doesn't matter what he does. He's going to be hated on and criticized. Fury fought for Ireland in the amateurs. Does that mean he's Irish? He's a fucking jippo, right? So do they really have an identity? They just travel where they want, right? Travelers. When you represent a certain country, that's the country you rep. Exactly. Agree or disagree, that's the great thing about debating, isn't it? Yes, that's the great thing. He's Canadian. All I know, his mother fucking lived not that far from where I grew up and was a nurse, and he went to fucking high school there and then ended up representing Canada in the Olympics and then went to the UK to cash out on his Olympic fucking pedigree. Is Canelo the GOAT at 168 if he beats Benavidez? I would have to say that in accomplishments, Canelo is the GOAT at 168 already. I mean, Roy Jones might have an argument for being above him. Andre Ward dropped the ball because he never tried to become undisputed. And in truth, is Andre Ward's resume at 168 even that much better than fucking Canelo Alvarez's? I mean, who did he beat? Kessler, Froch, Abraham. Okay. Smith, Plant, Saunders. Is there that much difference between these three fighters and these three fighters? Actually, these three might be better, right? It's a legitimate debate. And if he beats David Benavidez, sure as fucking hell, his resume is going to be better than Andre Ward. And he also beat Kovalev at 175. I know, not the same Kovalev that Ward beat. But the reality is he's also a fucking 140-pound fighter who started his pro career. Andre Ward won a light heavyweight Olympic gold medal and then went from 175 to 168 in the pros, which is normal. Generally, guys go to the pros, and because they have day before weigh-ins, they go to divisions lower. So he was always a light heavyweight. He was just fighting at a lower weight division until he chose to move up, which he should have done to fight Dawson to become unified champion then, but he didn't. He ducked Dawson and dragged his ass down a whole division. Canelo is ducking all the monsters from the new Godzilla and King Kong movie. He is. He's a pussy, ducking motherfucker. Will an elephant defend you if a tiger attacks you while riding the elephant? Generally, tigers won't attack you if you're on an elephant. But the guys that are going to defend you are the dudes with guns that are close to you because you're not by yourself. But you're not going to see fucking that in Thailand. Canelo is ducking Southpaw TV. Fuck, everyone's ducking that guy. Nobody should fucking listen to that guy's channel. Just ignore him. Better BF would have slept Ward, in my opinion. Wish Ward stayed around a little longer. Yeah, but chances are he probably wouldn't have fought Better BF because stylistically, that's a guy who his style wouldn't match up very well with, right? You know, he likes to fight in the inside. Okay, nice. Go, do it. Mara says, what's my Bivol versus Better BF prediction? At this point, I have to favor Better BF to win. But I do get that if he is sliding, Bivol might be able to outbox him and win a unanimous decision. I just don't know if I can see him doing that for 12 rounds without Better BF eventually getting to him and breaking him down, which is ultimately what I predict. I don't know if he'll get the knockout, but I definitely think he beats him. Triple G didn't want that Ward smoke. He said he would meet at 164. That's a lie. Now think about it. Ward had no interest and was not calling out Triple G until Triple G called out Carl Froch. Carl Froch, who was active and relevant and coming off of a fucking 2 fights with George Groves, one of which sold 80,000 fucking tickets in the UK. Golovkin was trying to get that big money opponent. Julio Cesar Chavez, who Ward tried to get a fight with. Froch, who Ward turned down a rematch in the UK with. And Canelo, who ultimately is who he got the fight with. Why would he fight Andre Ward? Andre Ward's 2 pay-per-view fights with Kovalev did miserable numbers. And it's a great fight in truth. But that shows you how much Black America supported Andre Ward. They didn't support him enough to buy his pay-per-views because no one fucking paid for those fights. Those fights did miserable. Right? That dude coming off of those 2 Ward fights or Kovalev fights should have been at the top of his game, but no one gave a fuck. No one bought his pay-per-views. The thing he would have had to do next was take on Adonis Stevenson for Undisputed. But he ducked Adonis at 168, and then he ducked Adonis at 175, right? And then retired as a duck. But people want to act like it's hate. No, everything I just said is completely fucking true. If Canelo doesn't fight Benavidez in 2024, he's a duck. Yes, he is. couldn't even make 160 more anymore. Oh, Ward couldn't. No, Ward came back after a 2 year hiatus in conflict with his fucking promoter and never fought at 168 again when he came back. His first fight against Smith, light heavyweight, and his next two fights, light heavyweight, and then his two fights with Kovalev, light heavyweight. 5 fights after a 2 year hiatus, all at light heavyweight. But he was going to fight Golovkin at 164? Bullshit. Bullshit. Never was going to happen. Ward beat Prime Dawson at 168. Yeah, pulling Dawson all the way down from 175. And Dawson fucking never was the same. Then went back up to 175 and got flatlined in 1 round by Adonis Stevenson. Ward's fight against Sakio Bika was incredibly dirty, using elbows inside, getting away with it. Not saying he didn't win, but he was also a dirty fighter. And fucking who was Sakio Bika? Right? A marginal fucking fighter at best. Notice how nobody barely mentions Ward these days. Only narrative pushers. I like GG, but when the competition went up, the KO stopped. I personally thought Jacobs beat him. Jacobs didn't beat him. The problem is, when the competition increased, Golovkin was already on the slide. He was already past, like, what was he, 34, 35 years old at that time? Obviously, 300 amateur fights, tons of fucking pro fights. You know, we didn't get to see the best version of Golovkin against the best competition. Canelo ducked him, dropped his title in the garbage, a la fucking Riddick Bowe, to fucking duck a unification fight with him. He ended up missing fights with Andy Lee because his father died. Ended up missing fights with fucking, who's the guy that Danny Jacobs knocked out in 1 round? Right, him. Fucking Sturm ducked him, blatantly ducked him for fucking years. They had the same promoter in Germany, right? You know, it's unfortunate. A lot of fights we should have saw ducked. Chris Eubank fucking ducked him, blatantly ducked him. And now still calls him out. Ward versus Golovkin would have been boring. People just wanted to see Golovkin lose instead of seeing a good fight. That's it. They just wanted to see a black guy beat a white guy. That's all they were interested in. I can tell first ballot Hall of Famer a duck. Now, if Canelo didn't have a Hall of Fame resume, then yes. Better be if puts Ward to sleep. Can Crawford duck either for not fighting Enos? No, because he's looking for bigger and better things. He already did his work at 147. Ward can out-dirty and bully Bivol, though. He could. Yeah, stylistically, he's more of a type of opponent for him. If only he didn't sign with that German promoter, he would have came to the States earlier. That's the fact, right? But, you know, being from, obviously, Kazakhstan, who are you going to sign with? Obviously, I don't even know if American promoters were chasing after him. He was a silver medal Olympian, ended up losing, even though he was supposed to win the gold. You know, it's funny the way things work out. But he ended up making fucking millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars, made way more than Ward, and he don't care right now because now he's retired, living in Kazakhstan, doing business. GG was a boogeyman back in the day. Yeah, Felix Sturm didn't want that fight. No, he didn't. Canelo didn't duck. WBC, Golovkin wanted to dictate the money split, and he got it. 270. He did duck him. He dropped the title. Peter Quillen, yes. Smash the likes. Yeah, smash the likes, people. I'm trying to get my channel back up to at least 500. So he should retire Quinton because he is undisputed and not questioned. Better be his #1 contender. Bring up 40-year-old GGA from 160, Mel 154, and couldn't stop Ryder, but Munguia did, isn't it? Well, it's nice to criticize. I mean, he's not a 168-pound fighter. He started at 140, and now he's in his 5th weight division as a pro and has the best resume in boxing. And sure, he hasn't fucking won every fight, and he hasn't won every fight convincingly. Who the fuck has? Nobody. Machado in the house. Why would he retire? He said he's going to fight until he's like 36 or something. Canelo was easing into the 160-pound division. That's true. H Money's channel is still talking about Bud versus Spence. Laugh out loud. Man, they are casuals. Because what else are they going to talk about, right? Haney and Lomachenko, Spence and Crawford. It's like fucking knockout boxing. Literally today, he's again going out of his way to shit on Crawford. Dude, your narratives were exposed. Crawford fucking signed to fight Spence and beat Spence's fucking ass. And Spence is the reason the rematch isn't happening. So let's fucking drop the shit and understand that you were wrong on every single fucking count. The dude exposed your fighter as fucking nothing special. And you're still bitter. So now you jump to fucking pushing Tank Davis and acting like he's the one that wants to fight everyone, but everyone else is ducking him. That's true. Yet Haney already fought Lomachenko. He's going to fight Ryan Garcia. Fought Prograis. Is a legitimate two-weight world champion and became undisputed and unified titles, something Tank Davis has never done. Meanwhile, he's 5 years older. Tio fought Lomachenko and fought Josh Taylor. Two fighters that were unified champions. Taylor obviously undisputed. Tio should have been undisputed in two weight divisions. Ryan Garcia fought you, and now he's fighting Haney. So even he's done more than fucking Tank Davis, right? You know, I like Tank, but Tank's team is moving him fucking like pussy. And you being a fanboy acting like Devin Haney is trying to duck Tank. Shakur is trying to duck Tank. You better not say fucking Lomachenko's ducking Tank, because that dude literally fucking ducked that guy fucking for years now. And now's the time to jump on him because he's old. But who knows if they would take that fight. Ring IQ is knockout boxing's daddy. Quentin, do you remember to zip up Canelo after you're done? Oh my God. Come on, man. You can, dude, let's just be honest. You don't have to like Canelo Alvarez, but tell me one boxer today that's done more than him. Just one. Just one. H Money is garbage truck juice. Those dudes are crazy. Fucking crazy, man. Yeah, he needs to move up or fight David Morrell. Do you think Spence will retire or build 154, 160, hopes to get Canelo payday? Well, if he doesn't come back to take on Tim Tszyu, obviously probably you don't need tune-up fights, right? Spence told you don't need tune-up fights. So if he doesn't come back and fight Tim Tszyu after Tim Tszyu fucking knocks out Thurman, then I don't see him fucking coming back at all. He already told you he got more money than he needs, and he has no problem financially ever. So what's the point of coming back? If you're not going to try to redeem yourself against Bud Crawford, then at this point, who gives a fuck, right? Oh my God, guys, let's fucking be adults. Let's not fucking bring my chat section to the limit of those guys' chat section. We can disagree, but we don't need to be fucking children. I think Benavidez should probably fight Mimbile at this point. I think Morrell is too risky for them. Mimbile is easier, that's for sure. Bivol Beterbiev fighting nothing 175 right now. David Morrell needs to fight Plant or Mimbile caliber opponents before Benavidez. So what does David do? Yeah, fight Canelo. Loma still beats Tank right now. Knockout boxing is soft screams a few things, declares himself a debate winner, then cuts off like he did on here before. Yeah, well, you know, I think he's a real boxing fan, but the problem with him is his fanboyism. And when he accuses other people of fanboyism, that's ridiculous, because PBC, Tank Davis, Errol Spence, blatantly fanboy. The narratives he pushes, blatantly fanboy. I don't know if I hear too many channels on YouTube that blatantly fanboy anybody like he does those three fucking people. And I know one is an organization, but you get my point. I mean, obviously, I like fighters. Golovkin, Lomachenko, Pacquiao. Roman Gonzalez, and I will defend fake narratives and blatant lies. But I don't fucking lie and go out of my way to make fucking up narratives like he does. The shit's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Right? Like it's gets a little over the top, man. My bad. No bad, we're better than that. That's all I'm saying. Mbili is on top rank. Ain't happening. Is Mbili on top rank? Really? Or DAZN? Since when did Benavidez become a name where you have to beat guys to fight him? No, you don't. But David Benavidez is not going to fight fucking David Morrell. His promoter just came out and said that. Said the reason the fight hasn't happened is because of him. Because he knows Morrell is way too dangerous and is not going to generate fucking enough money. Benavidez Morrell was signed last year, coming from Benavidez promoter's mouth. All of a sudden didn't happen. Well, Quentin, I just told you that's not true because his promoter just came out and said he's the reason the fight didn't happen. It's a good fight. I would like to see it. Relax, dude. It's a great fight. Let's do it. What about BFTB saying he will kill for Wilder when Wilder asked him, and what an embarrassing moment. The LDBC is pathetic, man. These dudes claiming dudes fucking ride nuts and do this and that. Listen to that fucking comment. Who the fuck treats a sports person like that, like a god? Like, these dudes are fucking delusional. We know why the LDBC is kissing his ass, because he's fucking paying them. The same way Devin Haney's daddy is paying them, which is why now fucking Devin Haney is the next fucking whipping boy for the LDBC. These dudes are fucking pathetic. It's ridiculous that you're going to fucking blow some dude for fucking cash incentives, because that's what they're doing, prostituting themselves for fucking sports figures. I love sports, but come on, dude, get a fucking grip. I could see fucking, name any athlete ever, fucking Yin Tai Jung, fucking 2 feet from me. And I'd be lucky if I'd even fucking go say anything to him. Because what? He's a great athlete, but outside of that, what quality does he have that fucking I'm interested in? Right? Unless he's going to take me clubbing and fucking do champagne service and fucking table with whores and fucking cocaine on the fucking desk, then why am I fucking interested in hanging out with that fucking dude? So the Charlos and Spence, I'll probably fucking party with them because they're down. But come on, man. People are people. These dudes grow up, they played sports, they were good. And that's like me getting excited if I saw Tom fucking Cruise. Now, if it's a bitch, that's different. Because, they do have something that I want. Unfortunately, none of these dudes do. Fucking unless you're an LDBC fucking dude, man. These dudes are ridiculous. Mbili fought on Better BF's undercard. Oh, yeah, that's true. Okay. Larry Liston, what? Salute General. Oh, my God. Fucking Christ, these dudes, man. Did you hear Wilder smashed his little brother's wife? That tells you everything you need to know about him. I had nothing but good things to say about Wilder and him as a family man, but you're going to fuck your brother's wife. Not only are you disrespecting your brother, but you're disrespecting your wife, who you have many kids with. Imagine if his brother fucked your wife. Right? Yeah. Something you just don't do. Alonzo, I remember that 78 sucking up to Wilder after he lost to Parker. Oh my God, that shit was fucking cringe. Cringe. Wilder trainer Malik Scott is the OnlyFans. How can you take him seriously? He's on OnlyFans doing what? Like selling pictures of himself? Videos? Like bitches do? I know if you're trying to get gay dudes to fucking pay money, apparently there's good money in it. My gay friend said, there's good money in OnlyFans if you're a dude and you want to put out that kind of stuff. But is that what Malik Scott's doing? because no bitches are fucking paying for your content. Girls don't pay for fucking OnlyFans. Wilder got to be one of the most overrated fighters of all time. I don't even know if he's overrated because who fucking rates him? Sweet Home Alabama. That's what he was playing is he's banging fucking his brother's wife. Bomb squad. That's what he said when he fucking came. Wow, a two-time champion who couldn't stay away from the refrigerator and his nose out of Lord's angel dust. Angel dust. Stay away from that shit, man. You don't want any stuff to do with that shit. That stuff is not fucking fun. Let me tell you. I did it once in Vancouver. Yeah. Speed? Nice. Heroin? Angel dust? Blah. Terrible. Terrible. Terrible shit. Cocaine? You know, you just have to listen to Rick James. Cocaine is a hell of a drug. I only pay on the Asian massage. Money well spent. I agree. You know, you get a happy ending. You get a massage. Beautiful. You don't have to take her to dinner. You don't have to fucking pick up the phone call tomorrow morning. You don't have to get rid of her fucking afterwards. It's the best of everything. You get exactly what you want without fucking any aggravation. You're always going to pay, so you might as well do it. You can do that in Thailand, Bangkok. And what's sad is Wilder was the 5th most heavyweight title defenses of all time, so they'll probably put him in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, but yet his resume is garbage. One quality win, really, against Ortiz. Stavern, okay, is Stavern good? Did anyone ever rate him? Who wins Usyk or Holyfield at cruiserweight? I'm a Holyfield fan, so I'm going to say Holyfield because Holyfield fucking would take 10 to land 1. I know Usyk is tough, but we saw Usyk in some tough fights, right? He had a tough fight with the Lithuanian guy, and he had a tough fight with the American dude, right? So I would say Holyfield. Evander, stylistically, I'd watch him fight every day. I can imagine Sean flipping cars over in a PCP-fueled rage on the highway. No, I guess people could do it because it's fucking terrible. I fucking crawled so deep into the sofa. So deep. Deeper than I thought sofas even were. Just so I could fucking wait it out. It was miserable. I'm just playing, Sean. I know. Don't worry. I have thick skin. What about ketamine? Oh, ketamine. Ketamine is a shit drug to do at a bar, but it's a great drug to do at home with your girlfriend. Great drug to do at home with your girlfriend. Shit's crazy, but that's part of the fun, right? You just stay on the bed and it's a whole new world. But in the bar, you fall into K-holes, fucking, you know, you're weird, can't fucking have a conversation. People look at you and think, who's that weird fucking dude over there? Yeah, I got Holyfield. I live in Taiwan. When I first came to Taiwan, you'd go to bars in Taichung. You could buy fucking E from the bartenders and just dance on the floor with all the fucking hot Asian chicks, and all their boyfriends were in booths snorting K. And you didn't have to worry about them because they were just like fucking zombied out. Wilder fought 3 world champions in his career. Yes, 3. Oh, yes. 1 was a washed up fucking Russian who had fucking almost double-digit losses. 1 was Stavern, who was given a fucking title. And then, of course, the one who beat his ass. So that tells you everything you need to know. Only 4-time heavyweight champ, the real deal. What is your dog, Sean? Where's my dog? Same place she always is. Lily. She's fucking KO'd. KO. Quinton Wilder is more accomplished than Andrade. He actually beat champions. That's true. But no one's talking about Andrade being a Hall of Famer. Hey, Lily. Holyfield only was a one-time heavyweight champion. No, that's not true. He also should have beat that Russian guy. He won that fight and got fucking robbed. It was terrible, but it is what it is. But yes, guys, it's 10:30, so I'm going to call it a night. Thanks for jumping in. As you can see, I'm trying to add graphics to my page. I still got to figure this shit out. But as we go, we will go. The problem is I can show stuff here, but unfortunately, I did it on my work fucking thing, and I can't show my work thing here. So I have to change that. I didn't even think about it. But next time it'll be more interesting, and I'll be able to flip here and go to my window showing stuff here and be more engaging. But thanks, everyone. Peace out, and I will see you next time. This weekend, Sunday, hopefully, if any of these cards are on the zone, I can go live then. Berlanga, that'll be on the zone, right? I guess I could go live for that fight. Not that I'm super excited about that card, but we will see. Stay tuned. If you're around, jump on, and I will see you then. Peace out, everyone. Have a good week. Later.